Okay. We started in Polish, so I hope it's not a surprise that I will be talking about this in English, just because of the simple fact that I will not be able to explain this in Polish. Yeah. So yeah, I hope that's okay for everyone. I will try to speak loudly. I will try to speak clearly. So I hope everyone has a chance to understand. Yeah. Okay, so we start to begin with. We got to meet a little bit and talk with a few of you. So let me introduce myself. I started my career in QA back in 2010, right after I graduated. Which, yeah, I look young, but I'm not actually. So, dating myself for the first time here, there will be 3 moments in this presentation where I'm dating myself. I hope you can tell me later where those places were. So first, working with these companies, if you know these logos, great. If you don't, then it's fine. Then, yeah, before the Coindy startup in China, there was also filmmaking in South Korea, but it's not part of this presentation because I usually don't tell people about this in a professional environment. But since we're talking about games, I think it's kind of relevant. So basically burned out here, moved to South Korea, started filmmaking career, ended filmmaking career, moved to China, got into blockchain startup. And I don't know if you know about something that happened right at the beginning of 2020 in China, but there was like some news about some virus. And being in China at the moment, I decided that it may be a good idea to go visit my friends in Belarus and just hang out and travel around Europe since I had this opportunity. So I've been traveling ever since, and I moved back basically unwillingly to Belarus, and that's where I started working in game development. These are mostly mobile companies, except one is the VR company that we founded with friends. And we were working on the project that successfully failed. We made no money. We spent a lot of personal funds, but we had fun doing it and we learned a lot. And then I moved to Poland, working for a company Chronospace here, making PC games. I worked on the DLC for the Cypher's game, Gra Szyfrów, as it's called in Polish, and also for Letnicy. This is the aviators game in English. I do recommend that you play Letnicy because it's a pretty cool game and a pretty cool project that was made. It doesn't have like very elaborate gameplay, unfortunately. We would do it better this time around, but it does look amazing from my perspective. And through Chronospace, I somehow faked my way into education. So currently I am an academic teacher in Polish-Japanese Academy, teaching game development and management. And also from this semester, I am starting to teach at Gdansk University. There are some workshops at the historical department. They have historical games at Gdansk Uni, and it's awesome. So if anyone is considering going to study somewhere, I do recommend Gdansk Uni historical games. It sounds lame because it's just historical games, but they're the real deal. Us, I guess, now. So today we will talk about multiple different topics. This is the tag cloud, so we'll talk about doors, design, distributions, casinos, statistics, oxes somehow, and fun in games, but not just in games, actually everywhere. And let's get the first question out of the way. Like whenever people talk about testing, this is the first question that they ask is why waste time testing when you could be improving your game instead? And in part, like a lot of this talk will be focused on trying to answer this lifelong question. And I would like to start it with asking you guys, what is fun? Like, how would you define fun? Because we are making games to make them fun, right? I would argue that if there is no fun, then you should not make a game. So, does anyone have a good definition for fun?
Dispatch endorphins.
Endorphins. Okay, it's a good one.
Having a good time with friends.
Having good time with friends. Yes, definitely.
Agency.
Agency.
It's not okay. That's not universal, but for me, it's agency.
Okay. it fits. Like there's 4 different types of fun, so it does fit the soft fun. This there's hard fun, and I don't remember if it's soft or if it's called a different way, but it does fit perfectly.
Exciting.
Excitement. Anything else? And you can use any language, by the way. So I'll just
Production of endorphins nails every aspect.
well, yes. Like, why do we live? To breathe. Yeah, it kind of does. But the thing is, for me, this is like the introduction that some of the stuff that I'll be talking about is mentioned in the book Theory of Fun by Ralph Koster. So I'm shamelessly.
Yeah, just add one thing though.
Yes.
That I think is very important. Novelty.
Novelty. Yes.
Novelty. Oh, there's no.
100% agree. Novelty is a great addition. Thank you. So I just shamelessly stole ideas from Ralph Koster. I recommend that you read the book. Like, this is not a presentation on the book itself, but a lot of things we'll be referencing to this book. That's why it's here. And I think to define fun, it would be better to define the opposite of fun, which is boredom. In this book, Ralph Koster defines boredom as something that presents no cognitive challenge. So let's dive a little bit deeper, and I can present to you 6 clear reasons why something will be boring, like specifically a game in our case. Reason number 1, it's too easy. Yeah, self-explanatory. Example of this is any and all Pokemon games. They're made for a different type of audience, obviously, but they're too easy for most adults, and that's why they can be a little bit boring gameplay-wise. Then reason number 2 is that a game asks a bit too much from you, like too big of an investment from your side to give you the amount of fun that you want to have in this game. And the example here is Naruto. There's 220 episodes in Naruto, 500 episodes of the additional Shippuden episodes, which gives us 720 total episodes. And so if all episodes are roughly 23 minutes in size, then the total watch time is this, 16,650 minutes or 277 hours. I don't know about you, but I respect people who like Naruto. I just don't have the time to get in anymore. Like, it asks too much. And the example of a game here would be EVE Online. I don't know if anyone plays EVE Online.
I have active account.
Respect you, sir. But
The month.
yes, but you can tell everyone how much effort it would take for a new player to start playing EVE today.
Especially it's a boring game.
That's why it's a boring game. Partly, it's why it's a boring game. So the meme here is One Piece, of course, because it gets good after episode 9007 something. And the fun thing here is that students showed me a meme where Sesame Street is flexing on One Piece, because One Piece has actually about 1,000 episodes, and Sesame Street does have 9,000. So yeah, Sesame Street is the king. Or there is no perceived patterns. So this is just noise.
If you roll an even number while adjacent to the peppermint forest, then you marshal out, and all your chips go into the pot. And remember, if you ever ask the question, what, then?
Maybe you want to proceed.
Got it? No, we'll just start. You guys will pick it up. Newbie goes first.
So
Roll.
you get the idea. Yeah. Every time my friends try to explain to me the rules of a new board game, this is how I feel, or this is usually my reaction to this. Could you repeat the part of all the stuff where you said about all the things? So reason number 4 is the pacing. Of
Okay, we get it.
unveiling.
Show no mercy.
New. You didn't catch the beginning, right? Patterns is too slow. Yes, thank you. Okay, I think I can adjust a little so I can see better. Okay, yeah. And example here is studying versus playing games, which is, I would argue that if you let game designers design syllabuses and courses in universities, people would learn more willingly. Like my students seem to be doing great, even though my efforts at designing the course are not finished, not even close to finished, because you have to always test and iterate. But still, just the idea. If the pacing is too slow, it doesn't work. The pacing is too fast. There is a video here. I'm not sure if it will open. Oh, okay, you can't see it. So it's basically a meme.
Fifth, sixth, that's your clutch, that's your brake, that's your accelerator. All right, let's go.
And that's how I feel when did I screw up the presentation? Oh, will it?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know where I am. What am I doing right now? Okay, yes, I got it. So this is the pacing too fast. Another example here is when this happens, it's probably because for those people the pacing of this game is a little too fast. Or another meme is any of the Souls games, right? We don't do that here. There is no difficulty setting. The final reason, and the most important for the purposes of this conversation, is this. The player mastered everything in the game. If you have mastered everything there is in the game to offer, and that brings us back to what you have added during our discussion of fun, then there is no chance for you to have fun in the game. So the meme here is this: beating the game versus 100%ing the game. 100%ing the game is not something you want to do, literally. And by that definition, have you ever heard someone who justifies making a game or designing something? Like, I want to make a game that I want to play, that I want to have fun playing. So by that definition, it is impossible. You can have fun making the game as a process itself, but because games are disposable, eventually you will get from a game everything that the game has to offer. Even something as emergent and crazy as Minecraft, where you can do anything and it's literally Lego, eventually there is a moment where you have chunked enough of this information, where you have done everything that you can imagine at the moment, and that's it. So like, unless you're doing some crazy emergent gaming, you will not be able to enjoy the game that you are making. This is the first point that I would like to make, and this is the reaction that I expect.
I have to
Yes?
say something.
Yeah?
I think if you wait long enough after making the game, you're going to be able to forget a great deal about the story of the game. Like,
Or a head trauma.
right. Like, I played a game, right? Waited years, played it again.
Yes.
I don't remember most of it. I can enjoy it again. Very similar to like as if I had been playing it for the first time at some time. Maybe that's just my bad memory, but
That is true. That is true. Although, like, you're not making something so you can enjoy it 5 years in the future. Very few people operate this way. I wish more people operated this way, because then we would have a more reasonable world. But unfortunately, all we care about is like next step, tomorrow, something. So, well, yes, this can be true in some cases, that you can make a game that you will be happy to play 10 years from now. Usually, this is not the goal for most people. Yeah?
I actually have 3 games I made and I liked playing after work.
multiplayer games,
No.
solo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You are an outlier. Yes, it is possible. Like, I'm not saying it's impossible. It is highly implausible, unlikely, but it's possible. Yes.
about boring things, what makes games boring.
Mhm.
Other things, gift box,
Gift boxes.
paid content. If other can,
So I think it can be put in the category of you feeling unfair, like of the feeling unfairness in the game because someone is profiteering off of you. And the goal of the game is not to give you a fun experience. The goal of the game is extract as much money as possible from you.
like example, Diablo Immortal mobile version. My friend select to buy something and go just kill all these diamonds. He not interested in the story.
Yeah.
I'm interested in the story.
Yeah.
For me, it become boring to play with him because I don't like these clicker games.
That's a good example. Thank you. So I will still stand my ground that you can have fun and more fun making the game than playing the game. So the way Ralph Koster in his game defines fun is that fun is the act of mastering the problem mentally. So it is you learning something new, and that's why it's difficult to enjoy your own game because you have to have the capacity within the game to give you something to learn, to teach you something, because that is what gives you this fun. Moving on to the next subject, there's three different kind of topics that are seemingly completely disconnected, but I promise, they make sense together as a whole. So we'll talk about doors, but not these doors, specifically Norman doors. And a Norman door is a door that tells you the opposite of what you're supposed to do, or a door that needs a sign to fix the incorrect behavior that users are experiencing. So if you've ever been in a situation like when you're pulling on a door that is supposed to be pushed or pushing the door that is supposed to be pulled, this is a Norman door, and it's not your fault, I promise. So here's a video example of a Norman door. It says, yeah, so it has a pull handle. It says push, pull, but it's actually push. So perfect door. Even the sign didn't manage to fix the problem. This is another example of a Norman door. I have no idea what to do with this one. And the fact that the hinges are hidden doesn't really help because, like, what do you do with this? You just have to experiment, obviously, but this should not be the intention. The intention should be that anyone is able to understand what to do with this door. Unless you're on a ship, don't do this. Because someone needed to even put a sign, do not turn to open, that is just does something. The solution proposed by Don Norman, he's, by the way, one of the proponents of the human-centric design. I think he might have been the guy who founded the idea, is very elegant. It's this. You have a pull handle, which you can grab, and because you grabbed, you pull. And you have a push handle, which is just a plate with nothing to grab on, that you can only push, which is a very useful thing if we're talking about the user experience. And the quote that I would like to highlight from the book by Don Norman is that most innovation is done as an incremental enhancement of existing products and not as a like just think hard. You just have to be smart to figure it out. And design is an iterative process, and you can't always predict user behavior. So this should be like a mantra inside of your head if you're working on games or anything for that matter. Because no matter how smart you are, no matter how much experience you have, there will be a point where you will misunderstand the intent, where you will misunderstand how users will actually interact with the products that you're making. And this is a concept called desire path, and now you will see it everywhere. If you're familiar with it, great. If not, I'll just give you a little bit of background. So you know what it is. I don't need to explain it to you. It's basically construction people or people who are designing these objects. They have an assumption that people will just go to the left, but people need to go also to the right. And people fix this problem quite elegantly. This can be seen as laziness. I would agree with that, actually. So the one on the left is a little less design issue and more like people being natural optimizers. You see them a lot in parks, specifically, because parks don't have enough paths to walk on. This one is a great example because it has a sign. The sign did nothing, but it was there to try. So like tutorials in some of the games that are trying to teach you really hard to do some things, and you just don't understand or remember. So unless it's natural and intuitive to do something, this will not fix things. And initially, this talk was for the World War II game jam in the museum, and this was like a path in the museum that I took a picture of. I wanted to take one on the way here. I saw like 3 of desired paths, but then I forgot. So we get to see this one. To illustrate this a little bit better, I wanted to invite you to look through the designer eyes. And then also try to apply the user vision to combine both. And to do this, I created a small game. It's called I Spy Bad Design. So let's play. I will show you pictures, and in these pictures, there will be issues, right? And let's see if we can spot what the issues are. I will sit down just so everyone can see. Well,
Fonts.
you can just like say things out loud.
That has like all the fonts. Yeah.
So while everyone focused on the date written in letters, which is appalling, I agree, and then missed the attend, not attend, which could be like a checkbox of attend, yes, no, right? They bring that. Would anyone like an entree of kids? I understand. Sorry? Yeah, yes, I agree. I understand the intent here, that it was like, which type of meat do you prefer, and will you have kids coming with you? Yeah, I get the intent, but yeah, I guess the designer did not know this. So by the fact that you're laughing, I take it you found the issue. So I also don't know who that one person is, but I really feel bad for them somehow.
Oh, it's someone from Rick and Morty.
Yes. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Can you? No.
I guess we can go home.
No. Someone tried. Like they really tried, and they couldn't. Okay, next one.
Oh, yeah, the solar panel.
Yes, the solar panel in the underground parking garage was a great idea. Yes, this one I also recognize when people get it once they start giggling a little. This one is tricky. The person who posted this noted that they canceled their transactions 4 times before they realized that something was wrong. What?
Enter red, cancel green.
And
Yes.
also enter is cross.
Yes. And then students brought it to my attention that also QZ is on top. And so like Q is supposed to be here and Z is supposed to be here.
Where it's another type of keyboard.
Someone who designed this.
It almost seems intentional. Like I can't see how this might have been an accident.
I understand. We trust that it's not intentional, right? I don't know. The internet, there might be someone wrong on the internet, right? This is just examples to prove a point.
She had.
If you see it, you can't unsee it. And the next one is the last one.
Oh, that's cute.
Wrong side.
It looks like generative AI.
So, no, it is not Deacon Balls and it doesn't say weed. No. It is a birthday cake for Emma, who is 1 year old. So I give this picture credit that it's the angle that makes it look special, but yeah. So the question that I would like to pose to you is actually several questions. The first one is, oh, we lost something?
Just wait.
Yeah. Okay, I have the question here. You will see it later. How are we so good at spotting things? Yeah, it was seconds. It was not even minutes.
We recognize patterns.
Right. Then why do designers miss such mistakes?
No,
Because
testing.
they are focused on something. They do not see the bigger picture sometimes.
Part of the reason. And could such mistakes be avoided?
Yeah, obviously.
Okay. So the answer to all of this is yes, of course. And with this in mind, we're moving on to Plymouth in 1906. So let me invite you to the annual Fat Stock and Poultry, the 36th show that is taking place in Plymouth in 1906, where a fat ox would be slaughtered, the one on the left, and it would be turned into the one on the right. And people at this annual show would get a chance to guess the weight of this ox. So like the one on the left is presented and it will be turned into the one on the right. And you could pay 6 pence, which that's why there's a coin there in the middle, to submit your guess to win a prize of £450, as you can see here. And about 800 people submitted their tickets. Like 800 tickets were issued and submitted with the weight. There would be an address, a name, and the weight on the ticket, but it's kind of irrelevant to the question. But unfortunately, none of the participants guessed correctly. However, this was somehow noted by the statistician Francis Galton, who decided to analyze the results and see if there's any interesting patterns that he could uncover in this statistical data. And he found that the median guess of 1,207 pounds was accurate within 1% of true weight. And the true weight was 1,198 pounds. Here is a note from Sir Francis Galton's notes. This is his handwriting. I'm treating you well, I hope. And I will share this presentation later on Discord. So if you click on this, you will see these notes. Like there's a link to look at this. If you're a statistics nerd, which I hope all of you are, this will be fun. And the question is, how can it be? Yeah, there's also a link for papers. There will be all the links in the presentation itself. How can it be that
Gaussian.
I like your thinking? Because of the standard normal distribution. There is different types of this. So this one is a standard normal distribution. So basically, the idea here is that the 92.72% of people will be within those limits, like on the top. 95% of people will be roughly here. So very few people will be on the edges. Less people, or you know, slightly more people will be here. And most people will be somewhere in this area, 68.26% of people. And there are standard deviations on the bottom. So there's the percentage points on the bottom for this. And this standard deviation is seen even in nature. This is an example. It's called Galton board. It's a physical toy that just shows the properties of this standard distribution. It's metal balls that drop into this container in a plastic shell, and they drop randomly because the pegs are evenly spaced, and they will always follow somehow the random distribution. You can buy one of those, it's fun. So, to make it a little bit more fun, I brought with me today a jar of coffee beans. I invite everyone to take a look at this jar and then scan the QR code and submit your guess how many individual beans are in this jar. They're counted. I promise. There is a very specific amount. So you can like look at it. Just please don't open the jar, and I'll just pass it to everyone.
Is there a price?
No. We don't have the budget for the prizes. But I don't know. Maybe Hackerspace has some budget for prizes. I don't know.
Sponsor one beer in the pub.
Oh.
Okay. So we got a prize. Yes. And I'll change the position of the microphone.
But you can count directly. Now it's another problem.
It would be, for the sake of this specific experiment, it would be better if you did not discuss your guesses. Like usually, and we will go to that later, discussing will improve your guess. Statistically, like you have higher chances to guess closer to the correct number if you discuss. But for this, for the sake of this experiment, let's not discuss. And I'm doing it the second time over, so there is already data submitted in the spreadsheet. We will be adding to the spreadsheet. So over time, it supposedly will even out very closely to the real number. So I'm testing it in real world. Could you please scan it? So I will move on and you will be checking out the beans.
There is picture here, so.
Yeah, I already thought of it.
Actually, I will have the same exact slide a bit later. So if you haven't yet opened it on your phone, it's fine.
Did I do something stupid if I submitted my guess without actually holding the jar in my hand?
You can submit another one for like we can make an exception just for you to. But you looked at the jar from the distance.
I mean, I wouldn't change my guess.
Okay, then
That's what I think, at least.
that's okay. That's okay. No, I have no issue with it. Like it's full freedom. You can. Okay, can I move on? Yeah. Yes. Hopefully, yes. Okay, so next we'll go to the examples from Holland Casino. I don't remember where exactly in Holland, but it's not essential. This is from a paper. Basically, they did a similar guessing competition to what we are doing right now, but outside the lobby in a casino, they had a container that had a certain amount of items inside, and every visitor of the casino would be invited. It was held at the end of the year, so they would be invited to submit their guess. They would get a code that they could later use to submit a guess. And you could visit casino several times. You could visit it like later in the month, and I think it ran over a period of 2 months, but I'm not certain on that. And you could submit several guesses. And the prize for guessing correctly was 100,000 euro. Yes, I'll take it back. Thank you. 100,000 euros. So the person who would estimate the closest amount to the true amount would win. This is how it looked. You can see from each year they changed the display slightly, and you can see that the number of objects, which is non-essential for our purposes, number of players is significantly lower than the number of estimates. That's why most players would submit more than one estimate. So the number of estimates is higher. Data. This is 2013, and you can see that the true value is here and the mean is here. So it's like really, really close. Then this is next year, 2014. True value is here, mean is the dotted line. And in 2015, the true value is even further. So the conclusion we can make from this is that the casino got better each year at obfuscating the correct amount somehow. But also, we can make several other conclusions, one of which is that people improve their estimates over time because they talk to their friends. That's why I ask you not to discuss the amount of beans, because it would improve your guess statistically. And here is the data to prove it, that the mean squared error goes down as the number of estimates rises for each year. We see the same trend. And the accuracy gains are also higher if people guess over time. So here is the accuracy gain. It's all years plotted on the same chart, and you can see that just the colors are slightly different. And here is the time between estimates in weeks, and you can also see the Pearson correlation, which is not very relevant for us right now. But all you need to understand from this is that the accuracy gains go up as the time increases. So the longer you wait before submitting your next guess, the better your result will be. But so one of the conclusions from the paper is that the within-person aggregation from a single person are much worse than from multiple people. And basically, this is the quote: allowing a single individual to make an infinite amount of estimates, all an infinite amount apart in time, would roughly approximate the wisdom of only two people. So I've put it in a more understandable graphical way. One person having infinite amount of attempts, infinite amount of time apart between those attempts, would roughly equal to two people. So the effectiveness of one person when guessing these kind of things is much lower than between different people. And the researchers guess that it's because of the idiosyncratic biases that we have, which is all of our previous experience, life experience, things that we see do compounding into our view that we have in life. And that's why it's really hard to think outside of the box. And that's why when you do something creative and then you look at it 5 years later, usually the reaction is like, oh, I can do it much better. If you continue this craft, of course, because there's different situations. And it is better to combine estimates from multiple people rather than combining multiple estimates from one single individual. So unless you're making a game for yourself, and we are talking about games here in playtesting, then this is what it is, right? Testing your game by yourself with an infinite amount of attempts, infinite amount of time apart, roughly equals to letting two other people playing your game. The amount of feedback that you will receive. I hope that most of you are familiar with this, but for those who forgot, I will remind you, this is the flow chart from, I don't want to butcher the name of the researcher because I can't pronounce it. Basically, it shows challenges and skills, and if the challenge is too high and the skill is low, the player feels anxious. If the challenge is too low and the skill is too high, the player feels bored. So in the perfect world, you constantly increase the challenge as the skill of the player increases, and you just channel them through the game, through this flow channel, really nicely and neatly. So let's imagine that we are trying to balance our game for the players to see if we actually manage to do this. And we get this data. What should we do?
Lower the challenge.
Lower the challenge because it's too hard. Okay, so we've lowered the challenge and now we get this. What should we do?
Up the challenge.
So we should increase the challenge now, right? Wrong. We should do this. Because none of the previous points is enough to draw any conclusions. Like you had one person playing your game and saying, it's too difficult. And you're like, oh, let me fix it for you, bro. I'm going to go back, rework the whole balance system, and then let you play again. Or let someone else play again, because you've already played. I am a smart designer. I will not let you play again. I'll test it with someone else. So I understand that it's unfeasible to have this amount of testing in your game. This is too many people playing, too much time to spend on this playtesting. But usually after 15 playtests, you perfectly get very clear results where to take your game. But even after 10, you will see the trend in this game, because like if you plot here lines, you can see that actually your game is doing pretty well. Most players are roughly within the skill and challenge channel. So with this, we can move on to the standard distribution and define that basically the stop value is the real characteristics of your game, what your game actually is. Because for different people, it will be different, but roughly for the 68% of people, it will be within this region, which is fine. Like if you balance for this, you are in the clear, you are in the good. And obviously, the bigger the sample is that you are using in your game, the higher will be the confidence that this is the case. But like I said, like you can see at 30 people, you will already have enough data to draw pretty clear conclusions. Okay, the most important question, right? How many beans? 324. And I have proof. I laid all the beans out on my kitchen table in a neat 5 by 5 cubes, so squares, and which means that every square is 25 beans. There is 50 squares, 50 beans in 2 squares, 100 in each. There's 3 lines of beans, so this is 300 beans, right? And the one on the left is also 5 by 5, but 1 bean is missing, which makes it 24 beans. So it is exactly 324 beans in the jar. I think I don't want to skip because I will need to restart the presentation. I will show you the results of the bean challenge a bit later. For anyone who will be watching this in recording, it will be, they can actually just click that link because it leads directly to the Excel spreadsheet. So the question now is when do we start playtesting? Because hopefully by now you're all convinced that there's no way you can balance your game and figure out if it's actually good. It's only other people that can tell you if it's good or not. And the answer is as early as possible, all the time. And the proof is kind of this. Note that it's multiplication, so it's compounding over time. Basically, if you have an idea or a concept and you're working on it, changing your idea is pretty easy. Like you just think differently, or you cross something out and add things. At the idea stage, it's really easy to conceptualize. It's really easy to change stuff. What I see with my students is they do not start with a problem, they start with a solution, for example, because the solution is sexy. The solution is something where you get to feel like you're doing things. And when you're thinking, you're not doing anything, you're just sitting there and thinking. Do not undervalue the thinking process because it gives you the best bang for your buck. Then you move on to prototype. I hope that you do move on to prototypes. Please don't tell me you just make games out right away. And the cost is now increased because you need to change things. You're already working in an engine, and that is actual work that you started doing. And then alpha, beta, and release. Release can just kill you. Like if you have released a game that it was not ready for release, you can imagine the consequences. Concord. And the question is, if we do this testing all the time, then when do we make the game? Right?
At the same time.
Yeah, because we're testing all the time. This is the question that people ask a lot. Students say that we want to focus on making the game. If I have more time to spend on the game, then I get a better game as a result because it's the effort, right?
So we have developers and quality assurance.
That is a good assumption, but yeah, hopefully you do have, because from my experience, a lot of companies kind of neglect QA. I'm looking at our QA friend here. He knows the pain. And the answer that I would like to give you, and I hope that you will spread this answer into the world, and it's not from me, it's from a quote, which is, if you dig a hole and it's in the wrong place, digging it deeper isn't going to help. Please, please. Always dig a small hole, check if there is something that you need from that hole, then dig a hole in another place. Just digging a giant pit in the middle of nowhere is not going to help anyone. So focus on understanding the problem rather than focusing on the solution. And from the problem, because you will be solving a specific problem, it's really difficult to identify a proper problem. But if you spend more time here, it will be more difficult, more easy. So to help you, we're getting close to the end, by the way. I have prepared like a small list that you can use when you're testing a game, play testing, because as we learned, you can't play test the game yourself all the time. It has to be other people. So you need to ask other people relevant and useful questions. So this is a list based on the game systems checklist. Like I said, it will be mentioned again from the book by Ralph Koster. And I will not go through these things. You can go through them by yourself. And there is a longer playtesting questionnaire that you can literally copy and paste into Google Forms and make a form out of it. And it's going to be a really quick 24-question poll that you send out to people or ask them to fill in after they play your game. And kind of last thing that I wanted to leave you with here is that when you are playtesting, we did not focus on this because I think it's kind of self-explanatory. You should be like a ninja. You do not exist in the room. In a perfect world, you would sit the playtester down in a chair in a dark room in front of a huge TV or a projector with a heart rate monitor attached to their finger, with eye tracking software and hardware in front of them to see where they're looking, and then record the video of what they're playing. That would be perfect. But you don't want to disturb them, so you just listen, you do not interrupt, you do not explain things, you do not provide solutions or try to defend the things that they find annoying, because that's the first reaction, right? Someone says you did something wrong. Like, no, I will explain to you how it came to be. It is actually the best decision we've made. And you do not engage at all, unless you ask for help. Obviously, you can ask for help.
It's like marketing.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So this is kind of the end of the presentation, but I did have one ask. If any of you work in game development, we are doing a research in collaboration with Polish-Japanese Academy and Gdansk University, and I wanted to ask you if you work in game dev to fill in a questionnaire related to work-life balance in game development. Because I think it's a really important subject right now when everyone's fighting if we should stay remote or if we should go to the office. And we wanted to base it in empirical evidence, and hence the questionnaire. There is two versions. One is English. Whoever wants the English version, please scan if you work in game dev. Or later you can use it from the presentation. And there's a Polish version as well. You don't have to do it right now because it's something that you would need to focus on a little bit, but it shouldn't take like more than 10 minutes of your time. And as a treat, we will not watch this video. It is in the end of the presentation. It's a really nice GDC talk from GDC way back when, talking about playtesting and avoiding evil data, because we did not have time to touch this subject at all. And it's a huge one. Like, how do you analyze the stuff that people tell you? Because you shouldn't just take it at face value. If someone says, oh, you should add a boss here, or you should give me a shortcut to go to that place. Solutions is not something you're looking for in playtesting. You're looking for problems. And that's why you should first focus on the problems. What exactly are you solving? And solutions will present themselves. Because as humans, we are natural problem solvers. We're just pattern recognition machines. And that's what we're good at. And that's why games are fun. Thank you. Okay, and now the beans. Okay, mirror display.
So this example of beans is a good approach, not only for testing, but for task estimation. When tasks should be estimated by entire team. It's all about one developer. You estimate your task, you estimate your task.
So for that's what they do in the Scrum Poker. Yeah, it's exactly that. Wait, did I close my browser somehow? No. Oh no, I didn't want to open FaceTime.
Except with Scrum Poker, I think we used to talk about the results, and there was convincing involved to like lean one way or another.
Okay, let's see if it adjusted the... Okay, yeah, it adjusted for the table. Okay, great. So as you can see, the average is now 266. I don't know if you can see. I'll make it bigger. The average amount of beans is 266. The median is 213. And the minimum is 47. Yes. The maximum is 873. But here we have like roughly pretty close. I think if we give it 100 more people, we'll get really close. Because right now we have how many? Only 36 people. Not enough.
Have you tried to cut the percentiles left and right?
Yes, it helped a little bit, but not much. Like there's only wait, so there's one outlier with 873. So this edges like 47 and 873 are obviously not representative, but there's a 69, for example, which is, we know it's a meme, but still. There's 80, there is 96, there is 80, there is 93, so it's not that far off, okay? Yeah. Please.
It's a good enough number of responses to make a statistical insights.
I'm not a statistician, so I can't really tell you the exact number. It depends on the confidence that you want, as far as I understand statistics. Yeah, but in games, from my personal experience, like at about 10 to 15 feedback, 10 to 15 playtester feedback, what is it? My mind is like glitching right now. So at about 10 to 15 people who played your game, you will get pretty accurate data. Because you will see patterns. You will start seeing patterns that most of the people had problems with this boss, or most of the people could not make this jump on a first or fifth try, for example, right? Or just stuff like this. It's a shame that I didn't include this because the last game that I was playing is the Jedi Survivor. I don't know if anyone played it. Highly recommend. Surprisingly, an EA game is good. I was amazed. It looks awesome. It plays really well, except for some places where you just don't know what to do and you have to look up an IGN guide to go further. And these are the moments where you can clearly see that they haven't play tested enough. A project of that scale is very difficult to test. Like huge kudos to the guys who made the game that they managed to make it that good, especially now when the hopes are pretty low for good games. But yeah, at 10 to 15 people, you will see patterns. You will start seeing them early, but you will have more confidence the more you have. So the correct answer will be as many as possible, as many, yes, as you can tolerate or as you can engage in the testing process. Maybe any other questions? I forgot that I should take questions.
How do you adjust, like, when playtesting for specific game genres that are like for specific target audience, and if you can't choose like this target audience, like you're making a hardcore strategy like Hearts of Iron or like a Doom shooter, and you get random playtesters, half of them are just playing cozy games, and your statistics would just be really skewed towards this game is harder than I want to, but they're just not your target audience, and you just have to drop this part. And how to not drop it when you don't have to. You have to listen to it.
This is a really good point. I did not mention it in the presentation, but thank you for asking this question. You should test with roughly the audience that you expect to play your game. So the answer with specifics would be you start a Discord channel and invite people, because it's a niche group of people, it will be really easy to invite them and say, hey guys, I'm doing my, on Reddit, you just post, I'm doing my fan game of some that is similar to this, and I'm looking for hardcore gamers that are not afraid to sweat while playing, to playtest my game and give me feedback. And usually people will be happy to help you. But you try to recruit the audience as close as possible to the target audience that you have. Because obviously if you give Candy Crush Saga to people who like Souls games, you're not gonna get very valuable feedback from them. And likewise, otherwise if you go the opposite way, right?
So as I understand, for this testing, you should split your audience and test it separately. Do not make tests for these disabled pregnant children at once.
So the question that you're asking is about A/B testing, or
It's about to split your user types.
Like,
If you have
uh-huh.
different user types, if you make tests for different.
That depends. If you're trying to make your game as broad as possible, which is a mistake in itself, right? Because your target audience is everyone. Don't do that. Don't do that. Yes, that's where we get crappy games. Is when they try to optimize for everyone. It is impossible to optimize. So first, choose your fighters. Choose who this game is for. And then when you know the audience, test with this audience. Do not make a game for blind, disabled, pregnant children. Yes, do not, please. It's not gonna work.
A narrow audience, not a broad one.
Okay, for that one person, yes, they deserve it.
Super no one.
Only one person, maybe. Sorry, one game for me, especially.
Like, it could be a good idea to make a game, like if you have a spouse or if you have a partner, then make a game for them and they just play this game and they enjoy it. Like that's how I approach, for example, I sometimes make music, and the way I approach it is that I want 2 or 3 people to tell me that they liked it, and that's it. Like, not looking for any popularity. Okay, so I know that one person wants to show their game. Maybe we should move on to that part, right?